Kendall, thank you so much for joining us. This indictment is here. It is weighty, but the fact that there are state and federal Republican Party officials being indicted, and this is a Democratic DA, how much does that weigh on the motivation of this indictment and its proposed validity? I mean, can we speak to that? There was a time when we wouldn't have to talk about this, but now with all these charges of, prosecutorial persecution, I feel like it's worth asking.
Well, I'm glad you asked the question, because in the court of public opinion, there's going to be skepticism, at least on the part of Trump supporters, when a Democratic elected official brings charges, just as the Democrat appointed Justice Department has also brought charges. But within the workings of a prosecution office, they are not thinking red and blue. Of course, they're very, very interested in a case about a matter such as the election and whether it was properly conducted, and most especially whether there were efforts in effect to subvert the electoral process. So, yeah, they want to get to the bottom of it. They're excited about this case. Of course, it's a formidable challenge, but partisanship, it just isn't there. The public's always going to believe that, but having been in a prosecution office, knowing prosecutors for many, many years, I don't think this is going to be a Democrat-Republican dynamic or in the court of law.
All right. Thank you for your honesty there, your clarity there. Rudy Giuliani, former acting White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, they're also among those 18 named in the indictment. I think all Americans would hope that there would have to be valid proof that these individuals actually broke the law. But is there any symbolism here? I mean, the fact that so many other people, associates of the former president, are included, and the number of charges counting over 40. I mean, is that to send a message?
Well, it's to send a RICO case and launch it, because that is an extraordinary innovation in a case like this, saying that this was in effect a racketeering conspiracy, a criminal enterprise. And that's going to take a lot to prove. And one of the things that overrides, transcends, underlies everything is, did all the people who are working in concert with Donald Trump, or at least working on his side, believe that the election was lost? Or did they have a belief, however irrational, that there were irregularities in the election sufficient so that it should be further investigated, or so that other electors should be considered? Because at the bottom of any serious criminal case is intentionality. And it's hard to know sitting here whether everyone knew this was, in effect, a completely false gambit to try to steal the election from Joe Biden, or whether there were sincere views that there were something very wrong in how the election had been conducted in the state of Georgia.
One more question for you, Kendall. Alan Dershowitz, who's a guest on our show all the time, points to people challenging election results for eons. I mean, he points to the year 1960 and more recently in the year 2000. Would the best defense by the former president and all of these other individuals be to prove that there was election interference, as difficult as that has seemed to be? Or is it more about proving the right to be able to question the election's integrity?
Well, the part of the question I didn't hear, just due to some interference. But to get back to the RICO indictment, it's a terrifying thing for everybody in that case. They know one thing: no matter who becomes president in 2024, whether Joe Biden continues or it's a Republican, they know that that president cannot pardon anyone for a Georgia state case. And the Georgia state criminal process can be just as serious in terms of prison time. And if all 19 of them are tried in the same case, which is what the DA is proposing, that is a terrifying place to be if you're a defendant, because you're all subjected to the same barrage of evidence. And sometimes you worry, is the jury really going to be able to sort out who's innocent and who may not be innocent in this pile of people? Yeah. So there are motions to separate, but there will also be people who will rush back to the prosecution office to try to make a deal.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.